All right, buckle up, you guys, because today is a good day to learn about Instagram and monetizing the platform. We have a special guest on the show. Her name is Ariel Adams. You guys can go follow her at Ariel Adams on Instagram or The Money Realtor. That's also her name. Let me tell you about this girl. Ariel Adams is the dynamic 26-year-old social media guru and realtor who uses her online presence to encourage financial literacy. Known as the Money Realtor, this Virginia-based businesswoman launched several online courses and ebooks that focus on helping budding entrepreneurs monetize their Instagram. It only took her 90 days to generate over $100,000 in sales through social media alone. And today she is going to teach you guys how to do the same thing. I found this girl on Instagram and I bought her ebook because she specifically talked about how she could show people how to generate six figures on Instagram by doing not very much per day in smaller pockets of sales. And I was like, that's genius. I need to see what this girl is doing. So I downloaded her ebook. I loved it. And I reached out to her and said, would you come on the show? I teach people Instagram too, and this would add so much value. So here she is. I hope you guys are ready with pen and paper. This is going to be an amazing episode. So stay tuned. All right. Welcome, Ariel, to the show.
Thank you.
Woohoo. All right. So tell everyone a little bit about you and what you do.
Sure. So I'm a realtor and also, I guess a serial entrepreneur in general. I sell digital products. I work a 9-to-5 still, and I do real estate. So.
Oh my gosh. I didn't realize you were still working a 9-to-5 too.
Yeah.
That's awesome. What do you do for your 9-to-5?
So I'm in government contracting, and I work with the business development team, and we seek out, new opportunities for the business and do proposals.
Dang. Do you have any goals to be able to quit that or no?
I really don't know. And I've been thinking about it day in, day out. I have no idea.
Yeah.
No idea.
So tell everyone a little bit, because I look at your Instagram and you're teaching people how to make six figures on Instagram by taking their skills, monetizing them, which is genius. How did you get into that? How did you even start doing that yourself?
Yeah. So I really got inspired from other people making money online. And I said to myself, what do I know? What am I knowledgeable of? And what can I teach other people that could be valuable? And I knew Instagram because in my past life, I was an artist manager and I used to manage their social media accounts. So I know Instagram back and forth. And I was like, you know what? I could teach people how to build a following because I've gotten people verified. I've built their followings from scratch, all that type of stuff. So I made an ebook, launched that. And then I'm trying to teach people, how to make money through Instagram.
Mm-hmm. I love that. That's so smart. So smart to look at what you've done. What skills have you acquired already? Because everyone has acquired skills from previous things that they've done. So were you already in real estate when you were doing that?
No. So I started real estate this year, actually. A crazy year to start. But I got licensed back in March, and that's when I launched my page. And then it kind of just spiraled into this whole personal finance niche that I'm in now.
Wait, I didn't know you lost your page. Did you say you lost your page?
No, I didn't. No, I started my page. No, I started it back in March. Yeah.
Okay. I heard lost and I was like, oh no, her page got hacked.
I hope that doesn't happen.
Yes. Okay. So did you grow up knowing about entrepreneurship and be like, yeah, I'm going to be an entrepreneur?
Pretty much. Yeah. Both of my parents were entrepreneurs. So I kind of was always had that mentality of I'm going to go to school for business and I'm going to start a business and I'm going to work for myself. So
oh my gosh,
although I have my 9-to-5, I still work for myself.
I love that. What did your parents do?
They're also in government contracting. So hence me being in that world as well.
Okay. Super cool. So you went to school for business?
Yep, I did.
Okay. And you came out of it being like, now what?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I went into entertainment right out of school. I didn't join the workforce. I just, I was like, let me be an entrepreneur, see how it goes. That's what I studied. I went to University of Miami. And I was like, I'm just going to do it while I'm young and try it out. So launched a couple businesses actually, and then now I'm here.
Yes. Do tell. I would love to hear. What did you start with?
So I started in college. I was doing parties and events. So I learned a lot doing that, a lot of management skills and dealing with people, contracts, like all types of stuff. And then I graduated and I started my entertainment agency. I had a few artists that I was managing full time, like mostly in hip hop and R&B. And that actually made me move to New York because we were really pursuing, their dreams and everything. And that didn't really work out. The money was not consistent at all. And then I didn't really feel, I was growing older and I was like, I really don't want to be on my parents' dime. Like, they're really paying for me to have this dream that's it's really hard to make it in entertainment, So that's when I pivoted and started my 9 to 5.
Okay. And that was the government contracting or no?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And so you mentioned that you were working for a company and doing their social media and you grew their account and all this stuff. How did you learn that? Because so many people are on Instagram. They all want to grow their following. They all want to get verified, right? But people can't seem to figure it out.
Yeah, no, it was really trial and error. That's really it. That was the best teacher. I didn't have a mentor. I was winging it. I was trying things. I kind of just learned what worked, and I learned the right promotion techniques, the kind of content you really need to have to be successful, but trial and error.
So let's talk about that. What kind of content do you need?
If you're a business owner, I always tell people they need to focus on providing value. Like that is what is going to attract the people to like your page, stay on your page and follow you. What information are you giving them to where they're going to stick around? And obviously I like to talk about what I'm knowledgeable. You should talk to what you're knowledgeable of. So whether it's fitness or yoga or whatever, travel, talk about that all the time through your content, and then try to put in your personal experiences in there so people find value from it.
And I think value can be so hard for people to grasp. They hear the word and they're like, what's value? What even is value? What do you teach people that value is?
So I ask people to define what attracts them. So, you go on your explore page and you follow these people. Why? What is it about their content that gravitates you to follow them and engage with them? And then also you can look at the explore page and see content that does well and goes viral and understand, I guess it's like a science and an art at the same time. You have to figure out, why did this pop and why is this doing so well? So once you start analyzing quote unquote valuable content, you're able to duplicate it and do it yourself.
Mm-hmm. So you launched this ebook and it did awesome, I would assume.
Yep.
Now, did you launch it for free or did you always have a price with it?
I always had a price. I had an introductory price though. I came out with it being $10, and then I bumped it up once I got more reviews and testimonials, and I was like, okay, I have my social proof now. The price is going up. So it's at $20.
I love that. I think that's an awesome intro, right?
Yeah.
Intro offer for people. Did you ever have a straight freebie that you offered them? Or was that just more your content?
Yeah, I guess my content is free too, but I did have a freebie. It wasn't aligned with what my ebook was talking about at all. It was a home buying checklist for first-time home buyers, plugging in my real estate side. So I got a lot of emails that way, and that's kind of how I built my email list to try to convert people later.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so then after the ebook, you were like, oh, what's next?
Yep. Yep. It started out, just being my ebook, and I was like, I really do need more products. I want to be a well-rounded entrepreneur, and I want to teach people as much as I know. So then I launched my other online course, and it was called How to Save Like the Wealthy. And that focused on personal finance because, my page really talks a lot about personal finance. And then my second follow-up course was called Selling from Scratch. And that is my ebook times 10. Because my ebook generated $100,000 in 90 days. So I learned a lot. Yep.
Whoa. Okay. I didn't know that's how you made $100,000. This is from a $20 ebook. Well, it was $10.
Yeah, it was 10 only for a little bit, maybe like 3 weeks. And then
Okay.
but yeah.
Oh my gosh. So real quick, like I know you were in the middle of something else, but like
Yeah.
you made $100,000 off of a $20 ebook. Why do you think it did so well?
I honestly feel like my advertising tactics helped a lot. And I was getting a lot of good reviews. It was a lot of word of mouth. And I kept sharing other people's results. Other people really saw results from my book. They would gain, they would double their followers in a week, or they would make a sale from learning the techniques in my ebook. So it just did really well.
Yeah, actually giving people information that gives them a real transformation is always 100%. You said some of your advertising. What did you use in order to speak to your ideal client?
So mostly I would do shout outs on women-owned business pages or like Black business pages or whatever. And I would try to find my audience that way by promoting the ebook itself. And so I had to do a lot of research to figure out what was going to work with whichever page, whichever audience. Yeah, I think it was really the shout outs that kicked it off.
And you were doing like self shout outs.
Yeah, some shout outs and then on bigger pages than mine. Yes.
I love that. Shameless and like promoting yourself.
Oh, yeah. I promote myself every day, every day.
Well, that's again, when you show up on social media, you are promoting yourself, whether you know it or not.
Correct.
So, talk about that and the confidence that you have around promoting yourself, because I love
Yeah.
it.
I feel like a lot of people think selling yourself can be like sleazy or whatever. There's like this connotation behind being a salesperson, but like you could be a good salesperson. You could really help people and transform their lives. You don't have to be like using shady tactics or whatever. If your product is valuable to people and is giving them results, promote it every day. Like be shameless about it. Maybe don't let it be the only thing on your page. Like also have content and supporting content, valuable content, all of that. But I promote myself at least once a day.
I love that. In your stories mostly,
My
or what?
story, my feed, my Twitter, sometimes my email list. Yes.
How many times a day do you post on Instagram?
For my stories, I try to post every 3 hours. And sometimes it's not really original content. Like I'll see something on my explore page, share it, whatever. And then I also post to my feed once or twice a day.
Yeah, I love
Yeah.
that. Okay, back to you made $100,000 in 90 days, which I'm like, how big was your following when you did that, by the way?
It grew at the same time as my bank account grew. So I started out with 0 followers back in March, and I had 1,000 in April. And that's when I launched my book. I launched it with 1,000 followers. And then doing the shout outs gained me a following as well as gained sales. So it grew at the same time, really. Like I have 114,000 followers now, and it kind of coincided with the sales.
Yes, 100%, because you're an entrepreneur. I'm always explaining this to people. Like when you're an online entrepreneur, sales are first and follower count is a byproduct of the sale. And people always want the followers first, thinking that then they'll make their sales. And I'm like, that's backwards thinking.
Yeah, you could do it at the same time. Do it at the same time, for sure. You don't need 1 million followers to start making money.
So if people are like, okay, I have maybe an idea, maybe something that I could put together. How do I make 100,000 in 90 days? What would you tell them as far as like figuring out if it's a desired idea, right? Or if it's a desired, because clearly your book was desired by people. It wasn't just like some random idea you had.
Yeah. Really ask yourself, what type of like high income skills do I have? So maybe you're working a 9 to 5 and you're in HR and you review like 1 million resumes a day. Now you know what makes a good resume. You could sell a resume writing service for people. That's a high income skill. A lot of people are going to need that because, getting a job is very valuable, especially right now. Tell people like, self-reflect, figure out what can really impact people, because whatever impacts people is going to make you money.
Mm-hmm. How do you know if it's a high income skill?
Well, I guess you would have to do some market research, really. You're going to have to try some things, ask your friends, ask your family, like don't just ask yourself. test things out in the market. Like maybe your friends and family support it, but when it goes out, it flops, and that's okay. You can restart, you can rebrand. It's not the end of the world, but, try things out because, you don't have to be perfect to start something.
Mm-hmm. And feedback always just gets you closer.
Feedback. Yes. Take in the feedback, especially from your customers too.
For sure.
Yep.
So, okay. Then you launch a course.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And how well did that do?
So that's doing really well too. It's basically, as I said, my ebook, but on steroids. Like, it's a lot more insightful because I made the $100,000 and I'm like, okay, I have so much more to share. And that has generated 30,000 so far. I launched that in September.
Amazing. Yeah. Where are you going with this business? What's the vision?
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. I need to ask myself that because I don't know what the next step is. Like, what I really want to do is hit $100,000 in 30 days. That's my goal. So I did it in 90. Now I'm like, okay, how can I top myself? Like, I want to do it in 30 days. So that's my financial goal. I guess my long-term goal is, I don't know, maybe I will quit my 9-to-5 and start doing this full time, start a YouTube channel and really teach people personal finance, get more into that, but we'll see.
You mentioned personal finance before. Why are you so passionate about that?
Because people don't know it. People don't know what to do with their money. They don't know how to make money. It is really important. If you're living on this earth, it's very important to know, where your money goes, how to budget, how to save, how to invest. And a lot of women, a lot of African Americans, they're just not knowledgeable. They leave a lot of things to men or whatever. They just don't know. They don't do self-education. So I'm trying to be that person that's in their face.
I love that. And I love what you share on your page because you really dig into mindset stuff a lot too. Mm-hmm. What would you say is the top 3 things that people need to know about personal finance?
Top 3. Number 1, educate yourself. Start reading books. Or if not a book, watch a YouTube video. I started out, my transformation came when I read Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And that started my whole personal finance journey. Because before, I didn't keep track of my bank accounts. I wasn't budgeting. I didn't know anything. So I was like, you know what? If I'm going to be a wealthy person, I need to be financially literate. So number 1, educate yourself. Number 2, start tracking your money. Start tracking where it goes, how much you save. And then number 3 would probably be start to invest. Even if it's 5% of every paycheck, start to invest now, because that's going to compound over time and your money is really going to make money in the stock market or in real estate or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Where have you invested the most?
The stock market. Yeah.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Do you do that all?
Real estate investing yet. That's probably my next move.
Mm-hmm. Do you do it all yourself for the stock market, or do you have someone that you go through? Or
I do it all myself. I have the Robinhood app. And that's it's pretty savvy. It's pretty beginner friendly. So all on my own.
I love that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So I love that you break down for people on Instagram. You're if you want to make 100,000 in a year on Instagram, that's $204 a day, something like that.
$274 a day. Yes.
Can you talk about that and explain that concept to people?
Sure. So what she's referring to is my post said $100,000 is only $274 a day. And I think breaking it down for people makes it a lot easier to understand when you're okay, this might be more achievable because it's not such a big number. It's broken down. And that starts the mental shift that people need to have so they actually think it's achievable.
Totally. Yeah. Do you teach people to do that in a way where it's them offering their own product, or do you teach that with brand deals or what?
No, I teach it through offering your own product. Mm-hmm. So, a lot of my page is kind of convincing people that making money is possible. That's kind of the first step. A lot of people don't think they can make 6 figures in a year. It's kind of unheard of. So they don't fathom it. So a lot of my content is geared towards, shifting people's mindsets to think that it's possible.
Yeah, like I'm looking at one of your posts right now where you're talking about 100K is simple and you can sell a $10 product 28 times
Hmm.
or a $30 product 10 times or a $100 service 3 times, right? Like
Yep.
it's basically breaking it down into different types of things that you could sell. I think so many people don't think outside the box that way.
Exactly. Yep. Make it smaller so it's easier to understand.
Mhm.
Yeah.
All the people that you've worked with and helped, do the majority of them not have like a product or thing that they're offering when they come to work with you?
I wouldn't say a majority, maybe a good amount though. A lot of people ask me, "Oh, I don't have a business yet. Like, will this work for me?" And my thing is like, you don't need to have a whole LLC to start making money with a side hustle. You don't have to legitimize right now. You can make money doing whatever you know right now. Maybe you know how to do t-shirt screen printing. Start making money with that.
And I think that goes back to what we were talking about before. Like, how do you know if a skill is desired or not? Like is it a high income skill or is it a skill that maybe wouldn't be paid for? How do you teach people how to do research around that?
Well, I guess you would have to do your market research and test the market, offer different things, ask friends and family, and maybe think of, or maybe just learn the skill yourself. Like, you don't have to have the skill now, but you can learn it. And there's a lot of great and free tools out there to learn certain high income skills. So I have another post on my page talking about some high income skills ideas. I don't know which post it is, but it's somewhere there. And like Facebook ad managing, that's one. Investing, that's another. Copywriting, that's huge right now. Email marketing is another high income skill. And all of these things you can learn yourself through YouTube.
Mhm, mhm. Totally. And then I think people get to the point where they're like, okay, I'm learning it and I think I want to put myself out there, but who am I to tell people I can do this for them?
Yeah, that's the other thing that holds people back, I think. And in my course, I explain how to establish yourself as an expert because it may be like, imposter syndrome at first, but if you know what you're talking about, own it and be confident and just express that you know what you're talking about through your content. So providing that valuable content and always answering people's questions and being knowledgeable of your niche is going to brand you as an expert.
I think niche is where people also get tripped up. They have a really hard time grasping what a niche is and why they need one. What do
Yes.
you teach people about that?
Yeah, I tell people they need to have, I guess, a theme to their page. So if you're into fitness, every single post you post should be pertaining to fitness or diet or mental health, whatever. And that could be kind of your three topics that you always revolve around. And eventually you'll attract your tribe. You'll attract the people that like that type of content. And boom, that's your niche. You're in the fitness niche.
Yes. And I think people get worried about sounding repetitive.
You might be a little repetitive, but if you frame things in a different way, it could be digested in a whole different way.
I totally agree. Plus, there's different types of modalities, right? Like you could do a video versus a post versus all different types
Yeah,
of ways of learning.
exactly.
Do you have any tips on helping people as they're trying to build their following and be found by their ideal client?
Yeah, so I have this method that I started out with when I first started my page, and it was basically follow 100 people a day, and then 3 days later, you could clean up who you're following and kind of unfollow some people and do a cleanse. I did that every day until maybe 10,000 followers or something, and that really, really helped. And I didn't even like their stuff. I didn't comment on their page. I really just simply followed them, and they followed back. So that grew me by a lot, and then the shout outs simultaneously really pushed it over the edge.
Where did you find these people to follow? Because you also want to make sure they're the right people.
Yeah, so I would go through either people I wanted to collaborate with, like pages, people similar in my niche, and I would go through their followers or try to go through their most active followers. So go to a post of theirs, see who liked it, and just go boom, 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 like everyone or follow everyone in a row of whoever of those people that engage with that post.
Yes, I think that's so smart. And
Yeah.
you spoke to collaborating with other people like in your niche. I think that's again another big fear people have is they don't want to collaborate with people that are in their same space because what if
Yeah.
I lose a customer to them? So I'm curious to hear your thoughts on that.
Yeah, no, a lot of people are trying to balance withholding information and like sparking curiosity so people buy the product. But then you're losing value. Like people are not understanding what you're about. So like feel free to share as much as you can about your product and I promise the sales will still come in. Collaborate with other people because doing that cross promotion can really bring in a new audience. And no two products are the same, or so I hope. But you could frame your product differently from your competitors, so collaboration can still be useful.
How do you tell people how to sound different than their competitors?
You gotta find your unique voice. Everyone has a whole different life and a whole different personal experience. So you have to interject like your personality into your brand. And that's what's going to make you different automatically.
And I think people really struggle with that, like how to write a post that has personality, but at the same time delivers value.
Yeah. You always want to strive for quality, but putting your voice in there can sound very authentic, and people are drawn to authenticity. It makes you seem more trustworthy and more reliable, like a real person and not just like some influencer. So put your personality in with your posts.
Yeah. Do you do like where you write your posts with literally like using your voice and recording it so that it sounds more like you?
I haven't. I normally just type it out and I don't even think about it. Like I wake up in the morning and I take like 10 to 15 minutes out, think of my content for the day. And then as I'm posting my content, I just write out my caption right there. I don't even do much planning. I just,
High
I just
fives.
go.
I love that because I don't plan mine either. People are always like, do I have to plan it? I'm like, I don't, but
I don't. I don't. I really take 10 minutes out of my day to make my graphics and I post.
Mhm. How do you always know what to talk about?
From inspiration. So my method of finding inspiration is I'll go through my explore page or like I'll find something, I would have read something, whatever, and I'll save it, I'll write it down, and then I'll reference it back so I actually have content for the day without thinking too hard about it. And I try to rebrand it, of course, and yeah, make it my
Yeah.
own.
Do you use any kind of formulas for writing your post?
Not really formulas. I guess I have some rules. So for my page, I have my little like checkerboard layout I do. Every other post is a graphic, and then the other post is like a photo of me or like a quote. So I follow like that pattern on my page. And then I always make sure my graphics follow a certain art style. And I always have consistent colors and a consistent font. So
I like that.
yeah.
So, did you, when you were first trying out, was this like the first thing you tried and you were like, boom, got it? Or did you have to end up pivoting and trying a few things?
Yeah, so I guess I pivoted a few times. So this isn't my first Instagram account, but it's the one that worked. So I have my personal account, that was cool, I guess. And then I have the accounts I was managing when I was the entertainment manager, and none of them blew up as big as my money realtor account right now. So I learned a lot around the way, and that kind of transpired into what it is.
That's so cool. So, I think a lot of people struggle with like, they want to start in something and they want that to be the thing. And then they don't give themselves the grace to pivot. But
Yeah.
I love that you've clearly tried other things before. I mean, you freaking moved to New York City to like manage people, right?
Yep.
How did you not take on that attitude of like, oh, I'm a failure, and instead we're like, no, I'm just trying things?
It took a minute because I definitely felt that way. Like the artist I was managing at the time, we went our separate ways. And I was like, wow, like, I made a whole business around this. I moved up to New York for this. I made all these industry contacts. And now they're going to think like, oh, this girl's like, she's not in the industry anymore. And I really thought that I was failing. And then I decided, I need to focus on myself anyway. I was focusing on other people and managing other people's lives for literally years. I was like, I have to find the silver lining. Maybe I didn't fail. Maybe I really do need a pivot. So it took some talking to like friends and family and like getting motivation to try something new.
I love that. And I love that it was time for you to basically focus on yourself and your own voice. And I'm
Yeah.
sure that's partially why this Instagram account did so much better than the
Oh,
others.
yeah. Because I put all the energy into me for once, and it felt really good.
Hmm. Did you have any specific things that you did to like focus on you and to start to work on you?
Well, I got that job and I was like, wow, like I feel like I failed. Like I went to school for entrepreneurship and now I'm going and joining the workforce. That's why I decided to launch my Instagram because I still wanted something for me, even though I was working for someone else. And it started out as my real estate page. It was actually called like at Realtor Ariel, and it was just going to be real estate stuff. Then one of my posts did really well when I started talking about money and personal finance. And I noticed that and I decided to change all my content and gear it more towards what people liked and what they interacted with. And that was something I already was knowledgeable of. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to change my name. I'm going to rebrand. And I'm just going to start throwing out content that has to do with personal finance and everything.
Oh my gosh, I love that. And I love that you took the feedback as like a positive thing instead of being offended.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
I
That's what
think
you have to do.
people can get offended and be like, that's not what I want people to like. So I'm sure, I mean, I have days where it's like a post doesn't do as good, right? And then other days where it does like awesome. And some days it's like a post that I think is really good and it doesn't do as well as I think it will.
Exactly.
Do you find yourself on like the roller coaster of like, I don't want to say emotions, but in some ways discouragement, right? Being like, oh, it's not doing good today.
Actually, I like tune it out. Like I became really robotic with it. And I'm like, if content doesn't do well, like I'm not gonna take it personally. Yeah, I put some effort into it, but like tomorrow's another day. So I got really like good at just controlling that aspect and not taking it personally and thinking more of like, I'm a business now, I'm a brand now. I just wanna do what's best for what's resonating with people.
Totally. And I
Yeah.
think the more your audience grows and the more the engagement does grow with your posts, the more you can feel the pressure of like, oh, I better not have a bad post. But
Yeah.
I'm kind of like, there is no such thing. Like there is no such person that doesn't ever have a bad post, right? Like
Exactly.
that's the nature of the game.
There's no such thing as perfection, and you're always going to have to be testing things anyway.
Mhm.
So,
100%. So how do you know what to talk about for stories? And people ask me this all the time. Like, I don't know what to talk about for my stories.
so I do a lot of reposting.
Mhm.
Or if I'm not doing reposting from the Explore page, which is mostly motivational content, like a motivational quote or like a really luxury home, just to like get my mindset and visualization right. I'll sometimes appear in my stories, pretty rare, and I'll talk to something that deals with, Instagram monetization mostly, why people aren't making sales, why their content may be doing poorly. And I try to give them more insights into Instagram.
I like that. So it's not with like a specific person in mind, like, oh, it's my audience and I want to help serve them in this way. It's more just like what you're being inspired by.
Yeah, it's 100% me.
I
Yep.
like it. What would you say is the biggest mistake people make online with their Instagram as business owners?
Probably inconsistency and lack of quality are probably top two. Like a lot of people, they have good information in their posts, but it doesn't look pleasing. And Instagram's like a highly visual platform. And if it doesn't look good, it's not gonna pick up. Like the algorithm is not gonna take it to the explore page. It's not gonna go viral. People are not gonna like it because it's visually just not looking good. Um,
Aesthetics.
yeah, aesthetics are very important. So if you're not a graphic designer, hire someone. Like for sure. Go on Fiverr, go on freelancer.com. Even Etsy has like content packs and stuff. And outsource your graphic design because it can make all the difference.
I
And
like
post
that.
all the time. Back to my inconsistency. Post once a day, or at least strive to.
Mhm. I agree that consistency is everything, which is why it's okay to have a post that doesn't do as well. You'll be back
Yeah.
tomorrow. Like,
Yep. It's okay. Sometimes
and
I even archive it. Whatever. Like, who
yeah, oh,
cares?
totally. It's your
Yeah.
page. You get to.
Yeah.
And then I love that you talked about aesthetics. What do you teach people about aesthetics besides like hire a graphic designer? Do you teach like filters, presets?
I do. I make all my graphics on Canva, so I always promote Canva. It's a great tool, great website. And they have a million templates, and you can just alter the templates and just, put in the information, replace the words, and boom, you have something that looks beautiful. But if you're like training your eye to see what's like graphically pleasing, it's best to look at bigger pages and see what it is that they do that resonates. Like, they have consistent font, they have consistent colors, consistent art style, graphics, whatever, and try to like dissect why it catches the eye the way it does.
Yes. And I'll sometimes tell people like scroll the explore page at like kind of a faster pace and see what catches your eye. If you're going like a little bit faster, because that's also how you can start learning what to look for too. So I like that.
Yeah.
Everybody always wants to know about the algorithm. And I'm curious to hear your thoughts about the algorithm.
Well, it works for you if you work for it. Basically, you have to put in the work, and you have to, have your page aesthetic together. You have to post consistently. You have to engage when other people engage, make sure to reply back to their comments. All that stuff goes into the algorithm. And that is what propels your content forward. So if you're not doing all that stuff, it's not going to work in your favor.
But how much of the time do you spend worrying about it? As far as like, oh, what do I need to be doing like to manipulate the algorithm?
I mean, I really try to be as robotic as I can. Like, I don't want to get too hung up on the algorithm because it changes every 5 days and it is what it is. But what's going to survive is good, valuable content. So I always try to focus on what information am I giving to people that they will find value from. And that's what's going to prosper.
Oh my gosh, preach, girl, because people ask me about the algorithm and I'm like, honestly, you guys, I don't worry about it because you can't control it, number one. And number two, you can't beat good quality. You can't beat. I was also going to ask what you think about when people hire like engagement services.
It's really fickle. Like, I don't know who's like providing that, but you really need to do your research if you're investing money into a company. I personally don't think you should do it at all. I grew organically, and I think it's very possible for other people to still grow organically, but I guess it depends. It really depends.
Yeah, no, I'm more talking about, because I know there are different types. I'm more talking about like, because this guy was just talking to me the other day. It was
like someone that likes pictures from your account type of engagement?
Yeah, like where his company, you pay them and they have like a huge, basically like following that like likes all your stuff to make your engagement look like it's gone through the roof.
I'm not opposed because I actually did one of those engagement groups in the beginning. So there's this engagement group I was a part of called Executive Mafia. And essentially when you post something, it'll be like an influx of people liking and engaging with your post, and hopefully it looks authentic. I did that to, I guess, boost the content itself and get it on the explore page and whatever. And I did that up until maybe 30,000 followers, and it worked pretty well for me. I know a lot of people are like, oh, like that messes up your engagement rate and blah blah blah, but it didn't for me, maybe because I made sure to have good content, so I didn't have that drop off in engagement after I pulled out of that group. But it did help me in the beginning.
Yeah, because that's my one caveat with it is like you can't fake people out with your content. Like you can't do crappy content and have this high engagement all of a sudden.
No, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, so you have to have both, I think, go hand in hand for sure.
You do.
All right. So what would be like the biggest opportunity people have with their Instagram right now that they're missing out on, business owners?
Well, I'm just going to say monetizing it in general. Business owners, they're probably used to their brick and mortar systems or just having like a physical product being sold wherever, but like really get into online business because it's a global economy. Like I get customers from all over the world, and it's such a big opportunity for business owners because you don't have to stick to your local markets and, whatever, you can expand to other people and money's everywhere.
Well, this year, especially with COVID, everybody realized, oh crap, I better be online.
Yes. Exactly. This is the time. This is the time.
This is the time. All right. Before we leave, could you give everybody like, okay, they're like, okay, I think I have an idea. I think I want to monetize. Give them like a couple steps to get going.
So if you're starting out and you just want to have like a new product, a new page, start focusing on your quality content first. Whether that's coming up with original content or starting to learn Canva or whatever, focus on the quality, focus on the value in the information, and engage with people first. Like, people may not engage with you first. So go on other people's page and try to spark some type of call to action underneath your posts. So people start to, make comments and like and start a dialogue. So, yep, focus on valuable content and building your following, and then launch that product, whether it's perfect or not.
That's right. And use the feedback to keep going.
Use the feedback, tweak your product, rebrand if you have to. You just have to start. A lot of people are so scared to start.
Oh my gosh. Thank you so much for being on the show and sharing all of your valuable information. And I definitely want everybody to go give her a follow, because she's constantly dropping bomb truths over there that are going to help you in your business and your personal finance. So thank you, Ariel, for being on.
All right. Thank you.
Okay, everybody, go have an awesome day. And if you love this episode, be sure to take a screenshot and tag both of us on Instagram. Tell us what your takeaway was and what you're going to go start implementing right now. Because we all know it's one thing to know it, it's another thing to put it into action. All right, everybody. Talk to you later.